Caitlin Clark does return to the floor. How is she going to help elevate this team even more down the stretch of the season?
Well, she demands so much gravity on the defensive end of the floor. She's constantly seeing multiple players, and she makes the right reads and makes the right plays for our group. So she's going to continue to allow us to stretch the floor. We're going to be able to, I think everybody else will be able to get more higher percentage looks because of what she demands on the defensive end of the floor. And she brings our own defensive versatility because of her length, because of her size. So we'll certainly look different. I think we'll be that much more dangerous on offense in particular.
Stephanie White's recent ESPN interview didn't just send shockwaves, it confirmed a critical issue I've been tracking for weeks. Her palpable uncertainty about Caitlin Clark's role isn't merely concerning, it's a glaring signal this situation is far more mismanaged and serious than anyone's admitting.
Right. Stephanie White, do not put Ari and Kelsey and Caitlin on the floor at the same time. Please don't do it. Please don't do it, man. Please. All right? That lineup made no sense at all. All right? Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Stephanie White? All right, now,
on Monday's NBA Today, Stephanie White delivered another update that, like I've warned on this channel, left Fever fans utterly frustrated, not informed. Instead of the clear timeline Fever Nation demanded for Caitlin Clark's return, White dropped a bombshell I've been anticipating. She not only ducked specifics about Clark's comeback, but radically shifted the narrative on how our superstar will even be utilized when she does return.
And we've got Stephanie White praising Caitlin Clark. Did hell freeze over somewhere I don't know about? I don't know. We'll see. But she actually made some very nice comments, I guess, about Caitlin Clark today. She was on with ESPN.
You just heard White's vague day-to-day and no timetable rhetoric, which frankly is a smokescreen. The real alarm bells, as regular viewers know I've been ringing, came when she revealed the plan to reintegrate her from a strength and conditioning standpoint, and then get her back to basketball activities. But it's what came next that exposed the true depth of mismanagement for Clark and the franchise.
Thankfully, she went on ESPN and didn't use the phrase blessing in disguise. I mean this when I say this. I've said this about Stephanie White plenty of times. I actually think Stephanie White's a hell of a coach. So many people are like, oh, you've done nothing but criticize Stephanie White. I think she's got flaws. I think her rotations are iffy. I think her game plans are good. I think her defense is good. And I think her ability to get a team together is pretty good. I think she likes to play a bit slow, but she is very good. What Stephanie White is really good at is making players and teams play better than they should.
If you're ready for more unfiltered WNBA truth, please subscribe. White then revealed Clark's new role, one I've long argued would undermine her, taking her off the ball. White claimed it would provide her that opportunity, allowing us to give her a breather and present our team with varied looks. But as I've repeatedly shown, this directly contradicts what makes Clark the most dominant force in women's basketball history.
In everything that we do, for us, moving her off the ball a little bit more so she's not getting worn out in game, just handling the ball 94 feet. And then we're challenging her on the defensive end of the floor as well, being a better defender. The best for us as an opponent, you want to attack a good offensive player by making him play on the defensive end, putting him through the ringer. So being a better defender.
This, as I've been screaming from the rooftops, is Stephanie White trying to force a generational talent like Caitlin Clark into a system that simply doesn't fit. What White fundamentally fails to grasp, and has consistently missed throughout this disastrous season, is that Caitlin Clark isn't a player in a system. She is the system.
5 with Caitlin. At the end of the day, no matter how many games they win, they lost more games without Caitlin Clark playing. So everybody argument that Caitlin Clark is the Achilles heel, Caitlin Clark is this and that, your argument is obsolete, bro. They will forever have that notion on there, that blemish on there. Now, if they would have won more games, lost less, then you might have had something. But by them losing 7 damn games without Caitlin Clark playing lets us know that, they need Caitlin Clark.
When you have the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, a player who single-handedly revolutionized women's basketball and brought unprecedented attention to the sport, you don't try to cram her into a sluggish Connecticut Sun-style offense. You build everything around her, unique brilliance. But White, stubbornly clinging to a philosophy that made the Sun one of the WNBA's lowest-scoring teams last season, continues to squeeze Clark into a role that actively diminishes her impact. And the numbers, as I've detailed, don't lie about the damage. Clark's been limited to just 13 games due to soft tissue injuries, and when she does play, she's a shell of herself. Her field goal percentage has cratered to 36.7%, and her three-point shooting plummeted to a concerning 2. On the road, where the physical play intensifies, she's shooting a shocking 2s of 35 from downtown.
On the entire league. Remember, she literally added like nearly 3 points a game to her average. She was setting records for assists. Now, that's with Christy Sides having understood the job and just letting Caitlin Clark go wild. That's why I won't buy into the Fever. She's got to greatly alter her game for the Fever to get much better. No, she came back last year. She went scorched earth, and they were beating nearly everybody.
White's obsession with managing Clark's minutes and role has been catastrophic. While other coaches embrace generational talents, White has persistently tried to put training wheels on a Ferrari. The result, Clark has missed more games due to injury in her sophomore WNBA season than her entire college career. And like I told you weeks ago, Clark herself stated she's not a huge fan of minutes restrictions, adding, "Why would I be out there to play 20 minutes? Yet, White continues to treat the league's biggest star as if she's made of glass, leading to more soft tissue injuries than when Clark carried Iowa, playing 35 minutes to back-to-back national championship games. Her body isn't accustomed to this stop-start rhythm, it thrives on flow."
I know she wants to be out here on the floor, and we want her out here on the floor, but making sure that she's ready is the most important thing. I still don't know how far we are. We're going to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and go from there.
Perhaps the most baffling aspect of White's approach, as I've highlighted, is her insistence on playing Clark off the ball. This isn't just a minor tactical adjustment, it's a profound misunderstanding of Clark's genius. When she controls the offense, everything clicks, the ball moves, points are scored, and teammates get better looks due to the attention she commands. Remember when Clark herself plainly stated, "That's what I'm best at," regarding running the offense. Her press conference body language confirms her deep frustration with this forced role. The results are undeniable. In Clark's limited off-ball appearances, particularly against the Valkyries and White's new system, the Fever's offense looked disjointed. Clark managed just 10 points on 4 of 12 shooting, one of her worst performances of the season.
Ari McDonald, all she care about is putting the ball in the hoop. Everybody want to score. That's it. Y'all can barely look. Y'all had 17 assists against the Aces the other night. Y'all can't even put up 20 assists a game? That's sad. That's pathetic. Y'all don't be getting Sophie the ball when she open. You know what I'm saying? She be playing defense and everything, and Lexi Hull. Y'all need to reward those girls. They working hard, bro. Those are some hard-working women at the end of the day. You hear me? That's crazy.
What makes this situation truly infuriating is the constant physical punishment Clark has endured, while White's system offers no protection. As I've extensively documented, 17% of all flagrant fouls in the WNBA this season have been committed against Clark. When 80% of those come from one team, the Chicago Sky, it stops being coincidence and becomes a blatant pattern. From Kennedy Carter's blindsiding body check to systematic targeting, Clark has absorbed punishment that would have ended careers previously, and maddeningly, those responsible remain largely unpunished. Marina Mabrey, who delivered that devastating body check after Clark was poked in the eye, received only a fine and a technical, later upgraded to a flagrant, no suspension, no meaningful consequences. Yet White's response isn't to demand better protection from officials, it's to further limit Clark's role.
All of y'all who said we were exaggerating, Caitlin Clark's not getting fouled, bruh, it's to the point where we have this going
Beyond the tactical missteps, the most damaging aspect of White's coaching philosophy is its soul-crushing impact on Clark's spirit. This is a player who thrived under immense pressure at Iowa, elevating her game and her teammates in the biggest moments when unleashed. Instead, White wants Clark to return and conform to a system that clearly stifles her. She talks about reintegrating Clark, like she's a role player returning from a minor injury, not the face of the franchise and the most talented player in the league. Can you imagine legendary point guards like Magic Johnson or John Stockton being told to play off ball for a breather, or stand in the corner while someone else ran the offense? It's absurd, yet that's precisely what White proposes for a player who must have the ball in her hands.
Into this.
Yeah, I mean, we have updates, and our recovery's going well. It's just, I think for us, staying the course and making sure that we're really diligent about each step that we take, and that we don't have setbacks, and that we're patient with it. I know she wants to be out here on the floor, and we want her out here on the floor, but making sure that she's ready is the most important thing. I still don't know how far we are. We're going to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and go from there.
Fever fans have reached their breaking point. As you've seen on social media, calls for a coaching change are exploding. One fan perfectly captured it. Stephanie White needs to stop this game plan and let CC run the show. Another echoed my long-held view. Never seen Cease look this down and ejected. White has done her job and broken CC. The frustration is palpable because fans aren't tuning in for White's Connecticut Sun-style grind. They want to see Clark unleash magic. Instead, they get a diluted version of a generational talent shackled by constraints that diminish her impact. As one fan summarized, if they lose, they lose. But no one wants to watch the system of basketball where she's relegated to standing in the corner.
I think the obvious issue is Stephanie White is so stubborn to fit a circle in a square peg instead of utilizing the strengths of the team. And she probably felt relief because Caitlin Clark was hurt, that, oh, this is my time. I could introduce the culture and the system. And some actually bought in. And then when Caitlin Clark comes back, she doesn't know how to use her.
What makes White's approach even more baffling, and something I've consistently warned about, is the championship window being squandered. The Fever have talent around Clark. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, capable of high-level play, but instead of building an offense maximizing everyone's strengths with Clark as the focal point, White insists on implementing a system that worked for completely different personnel in Connecticut. Remember, the Fever went 20-20 last season and made the playoffs with Christy Sides, who, despite her flaws, at least understood Clark needed to be the centerpiece. Now, with higher expectations and more talent, White seems determined to prove her system is more important than her player. As Clark recovers and White talks about reintegrating her into this flawed system, the critical question becomes, will the Fever organization continue enabling this coaching malpractice? The fan frustration is real, the on-court results are dire, and most importantly, Clark herself is clearly frustrated. The solution, as I've always said, is simple. Let Caitlin Clark be Caitlin Clark. Give her the ball, surround her with complementary players, and get out of the way. Build the system around the player, not the other way around. Every truly great coach in basketball history has understood this fundamental principle when dealing with transcendent talent.
Stephanie Jigsaw White, let me tell you something. Y'all do not move the ball better without my Caitlin Clark, aka my precious CC. At the end of the day, y'all have only won 4 games and recorded 4 games where y'all had 20 assists as a team at the end of the day. Caitlin Clark, aka my precious CC, she averages 7 to 9 assists a game. You hear me? Because she moves the ball and get everybody open, because everybody and their mama and their grandma be double teaming and triple teaming her, and her team is lazy when it comes to setting screens for her. Maybe she wouldn't be injured.
Stephanie White's latest comments about Clark's role, as I've broken down, are far more than just tactical adjustments. They represent a fundamental misunderstanding of how to maximize generational talent. Until that changes, until the Fever commit to building around their franchise player instead of forcing her into an ill-fitting system, both Clark and the organization will continue to underachieve. The clock is ticking on Clark's prime years. Every game spent trying to make her fit into White's Connecticut Sun playbook is a game wasted. Fever fans deserve better. Caitlin Clark deserves better. And if White can't or won't adapt her philosophy to maximize the talents of the most gifted player in women's basketball, then perhaps it's time for the organization to find someone who will. The hope, of course, is that when Clark returns from this latest injury setback, she can overcome all this adversity and prove why she's the star this league desperately needs. But for that to happen, she must be unleashed, not constrained. She needs to be the system, not just another player in it. Until White understands that fundamental truth, the Fever will continue to squander the incredible talent they have.